Hi, it's Erin. It is VEDA day 13. It is a nice, bright, sunny day. It's been a really good day. Really non-eventful day, which is good. I'm happy about that. I was thinking about how I wouldn't really have anything to talk about today because they didn't have any interesting stories because nobody was weird or crazy or anything like that today. So, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But I was thinking about how I don't always get a lot of weird stories because I'm usually dealing with, you know, people who are just commuting or people who are, you know, running errands or going back and forth to the airport. You know, I've said that before, that I feel more comfortable just, you know, driving during the day because it's usually just people going about their business and, you know, trying to get things done. But, you know, I do have a few stories from when I worked at night, and I thought about this one. Since it's almost 4:20, I thought about this one. I guess I just gave away what's going to happen if you know what 4:20 is, which I think everybody pretty much does. So one day when I was driving around, I got a call for picking up someone. I don't know, let's say his name is Bob, because I don't remember, and even if I did, I wouldn't say his real name. So let's say, you know, I got this call to pick up Bob, and it wasn't too far from where I was. So I, you know, went looking for the house, and it was in this kind of dark neighborhood where, you know, the house numbers aren't really very obvious, which drives me nuts. It's another thing that I don't like about driving at night, because sometimes it's really hard to find the place that you're looking for, especially if it's in a community, because, you know, the house numbers aren't always nicely displayed. Sometimes you have to really go look for them. And when you do that, you know, you have to look for the number on the mailbox, or, you know, see if it's displayed somewhere on the house or whatever. And in this neighborhood, I couldn't see anything. Like, the mailboxes were dark. The house numbers, I guess, were on the actual house, but, you know, it's kind of hard to see when you're trying to drive and look and see the number. So I'm sitting there struggling, trying to find the address, and I'm slowly coming up on it based on the GPS. So I'm like, okay, good. I'm going to make it out here and, you know, just kind of figure it out based on where the GPS is trying to drop me off. And pretty close to there, I saw this guy who was, you know, probably fairly young, like somewhere between like 18 and 22. And he was just standing outside, leaning up against an SUV. And so I kind of slowed down and I put my blinkers on, kind of as like a signal, like, if you're the person, then you should start making your way to me so I know that you're you. Because that's what I do when I'm not really unsure. You know, I just kind of slow down a little bit, turn on the blinkers. And this guy just kind of kept standing there, just leaning up against the SUV. He had these big old earphones on. And, you know, he was like bopping his head, listening to music. And, you know, he wasn't too worried about whoever was driving down the street. So I was like, okay, maybe that's not him. But as I pulled up closer, I was able to see the address on, like, the mailbox or the house or something. I was able to tell that was the house where I was supposed to be picking up Bob. So I pulled up in front of the driveway, and after a second, I saw in my, I guess on my side view mirror, I saw that he, like, looked up, and he was like, you know, I guess he figured, oh, that's the person who's supposed to be picking me up. So he came to the car, and he got in that passenger side door, and when he came in, when he opened up the door, there was like this waft of marijuana smell. It smelled so strongly of weed. It was like so strong. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's why he didn't really notice, you know, that I was pulling up to come get him, because he's high like shit. So he got in the car, and so I was like, hi, Bob, how are you doing today? And he didn't say anything. So I was like, okay, well, I guess that's a little rude, but whatever. So I was like, well, you know, let me confirm where he's going, because that's what I always do to make sure that I'm really picking up the right person. So I turned around and I was like, so we're going to blah, blah, blah. And it was this hotel that was maybe like about 10 miles away from his house. And so he was like, huh? Oh, yeah, yeah. So I was like, okay. And so, you know, I pull out and start following the GPS to where we're supposed to be going. And like a minute down the road, he was like, oh, so that's the hotel on such and such street, right? And I was like, yep, that one. And so he was like, okay, okay. And so he put his big old earphones back on and started like bopping to the music again. And the music was like really loud. I don't know. I don't know how he didn't go deaf with that blasting in his ears. But, you know, it was super loud. I could hear it over my music that I had playing. So I was like, okay, whatever, you know, if that's what he wants to do, kill his poor eardrums, then that's on him. So, you know, we're going down the road and I'm driving. He's not saying anything, obviously, because he's, you know, in his own little world with his music and his weed. And it's so strong. I mean, the smell is so strong. It's like suffocating. And I didn't want to open up the windows, which I probably should have, but I didn't want to open up the windows because, you know, it was kind of cold that night. And it was really cold that night, actually. This was a long time ago. This was in the winter. So it was really cold, and I didn't, you know, want to just open up the windows, but like I said, I probably should have, because the smell was so strong. And so, you know, we just drive down the road, and you know, I pull up to the hotel after a few minutes. You know, we finally get there, I pull up, and I'm like, okay, here we are. You know, I don't hear him rustling around or anything back there like he's about to get out. So I was like, okay, Bob, we're here. And I turn around, and he is knocked out. He is asleep, mouth open, snoring. I'm like, oh man, he was out like a light. And I was like, okay, what do I do? Like, I didn't really want to get out of the car, and you know, I was just like, what do I do? How am I going to wake this guy up? I stopped the car. I tried to talk to him twice to tell him that we were here, and he was just sitting there with, like I said, mouth wide open. Flies could have been buzzing in and out. He wouldn't have even known. So luckily, I very quickly got the idea to turn on the interior lights. So I turned those on, and he like was like, what? Like that. With his eyes like that. It was so funny. And I was like, okay, so we're here. And he was like, oh, we're here already? And I was like, yep, we're here. Oh, okay, bye. And he got out of the car. And I was like, okay, good. I'm glad that he just woke up with the lights coming on, so I didn't have to like actually get out and, you know, try to wake him up, or, you know, or maybe find somebody to help me get him out of the car or something like that, because I just didn't want to be in a situation where I'm, you know, trying to pull somebody out of my car. I've heard these horror stories, and that's never happened to me, and I really hope that it never does. So I just thought that was so funny. And so, like, you know, it reeked in my car. I mean, it smelled so strongly of weed that even though it was cold outside, I put the windows down. I put the back windows down so it wouldn't be like whipping around in my face by opening up the front windows. I put the back windows down. I turned up the heat full blast, you know, because I didn't want to freeze to death. And so, you know, I was trying to air out my car, but I was like, no, it smells so strong. I can't pick anybody else up. You know, I don't want anybody to think that I'm smoking weed in here, or, you know, just the fact that, you know, my car just smells like it. So I was like, oh, I guess that's it. I guess I'm done for the day. So I just went ahead and went home and drove home the whole way with my windows down and the heat blasting, which I know is wasteful, but I had to get the smell out of here. And then I was kind of surprised because when I got home, my daughter needed to go to the store. And it was like maybe 11 o'clock at night. I mean, you know, it wasn't anything urgent, but I can't remember what we got. But for some reason, she said she needed to go to the store. So I was just like, okay, well, I might as well just go now while I'm up, rather than, you know, having to make her wait until tomorrow morning or whatever. So we got back in the car. And she was like, what is that smell? And I just started laughing. And she was like, what's so funny? And I was like, well, what do you think that smell is? And she's like, I don't know. It smells weird. It smells like burning, and it smells like grass. And I just started laughing because she said grass. Like, yes it is, but not the type of grass you think. But I was like, oh, no, it's just somebody, you know, was smoking before and it made the car smell. She was like cigarettes? And I was like, no, not cigarettes. And she was like, oh, okay. She was like, yeah, it smells really strong in here. And I was like, great. So we went to the store and, you know, grabbed a few things, and then came back home, and I parked in the garage, and I put my windows down so that my car could actually air out. And so the next day, you know, everything was fine. It didn't smell like anything in here, but I was like, how much weed was he smoking that, like, the whole car, like his whole body was like drenched in that smell, so that my whole car was smelling like that too. It's so crazy that it smelled that strong, but whatever. I just thought that was funny. So I haven't had to deal with anything like that since I started driving during the day. The worst thing I had to deal with was the woman who smelled like garlic and onions, but that's a different story that I talked about, I think, maybe about a week ago when I was talking about eating in the Uber. So anyway, that's it. Luckily today, nothing like that happened. No strange odors or anything are going on in my car. But I just thought that was kind of an interesting story. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any comments, please feel free to put them below. And please subscribe. And just thanks again for watching me ramble on and on about all of my little nonsense, all these crazy stories. So see you next time.